I think it's the eyes are really the strongest, but this is the ultimate tester. Now, this is something that you can just test yourself, right? You can't just force her eyes to look at you or force her hands on you, right? You're just like, touch me, bitch. The compliance is something that you can test by trying something. Hey guys, Hector Castillo-Poppy from girlschase.com. Today I want to talk about something very interesting that I think every guy has encountered, and that's being able to tell the difference between a girl who's genuinely interested and who is just being friendly. Now, I think that this probably has some root in evolutionary biology. Just if a guy sees, because the nature of sexuality between men and women is obviously very different, and women are very sought after. They're pursued much more highly than men are until men become very high value. And so women are going to have a choice of mates for when they're definitely in their sexual prime and even after. But they get pursued and they get chased, and so they have that ability to kind of be the buyer. Whereas the man, he is, until he becomes high value, kind of picking up scraps. So if he gets a hint of interest, even just a little bit, well, his nature is just gonna, like his conquering nature, his adventurous nature, but also a little bit his desperate nature he's gonna go after it. Because he's gonna see a smile, he's gonna see a girl look for just a little bit longer than maybe is normal, a girl who's even just speaking to him, who laughs at something he said, and he's gonna go for it. Now, this creates some problems because you have guys who chase after girls who are definitely not interested, especially in workplace situations, and especially in workplace situations where her job is to kind of use this against him. Bartenders, hostesses, waitresses, strippers, right? VIP bottle girls who are at the table, right? Part of their job is making money through flirting. So, well, I guess they signed up for the job, but because those jobs existing and making as much money as they do, having worked in bars and nightclubs, it speaks to the pervasive nature of guys misreading signals. So how do you tell the difference between a girl who is just being polite or possibly who's flirting for a motivation, or a girl who's genuinely interested, right? So a girl who is being polite, let's, just cast aside the workplace stuff because that's just pretty obvious, and I've gone over that in different videos on how to get girls who are working. But a girl who's just being polite. So you're gonna hit this situation when you're in social circle usually, when talking to you and socializing with you is, if she's friends with your friends, you're gonna talk to her and she's not just gonna be a bitch, because she's not interested, right? She could just be a nice person. So I wanna talk to you and hello, how are you? She laughs at one of your jokes, shakes your hand, whatever. Okay, what is the sign that makes that politeness more than just politeness? What I think the best 3 benchmarks are. Once you eliminate motivation, right? She doesn't have any ulterior motive. There's, I'm not the guy who has weed at the party. I'm not the one who's got the connections that she needs. Let's remove external motivations from this where girls are trying to use you, because then we're just going to get into a deep rabbit hole. If you see that she is using eye contact, touch, or there's a lot of compliance, then there's a good chance that it's genuine, sincere attraction and not just being polite. So what is polite eye contact? Polite eye contact feels very placid, very soft. So a desperate guy, or a guy who doesn't know how to read signals, he's gonna see that eye contact and he's gonna still feel that urge. But what's going to make it genuine interest is when it's much more strong and longer and unnecessary, okay? So stronger eye contact, this is kind of a micro expression, so it might be a little bit difficult to explain properly. I could try and do it for you, but then I'll end up kind of being cringy. But what it basically is soft eye contact is just gonna, even if when she has a gregarious personality and a charismatic personality, this is gonna get really hard to read sometimes because she has lively expressions. But strong eye contact is going to be, it's gonna feel like like she almost has this predatory look. Like she's a little bit hungry. She's kind of analyzing you. She's piercing into you, right? If a guy walks up to a girl and is just very like sultry and seductive, right? You've seen movies, you've seen TV shows, so you might just have an instinct, and also you might have instinct, right? You want to wait till you feel that piercing energy, that kind of very like almost predatory look, because she sees you as something that she wants to eat, or she wants you to eat her. So it's heavy and it's focused. Now, what can make that less ambiguous is going to be if it's extended. So when she's talking to you, normally girls are self-aware of, unless they, play guys, they're pretty self-aware of how much interest they put out. So when you're talking to a girl who's not that interested, she'll have the friendly like expressions, like she's smiling and this, but her eyes are the strongest tell here. So she'll look at you and she's talking, but she's very easily distracted. And so she's going to, when you're talking, especially if you talk for too long, her interest is gonna maybe look away. Now, sometimes this could just mean she was interested, but she lost interest. But again, there's so many variables here. But if she's talking to you or you're talking and you feel her interest is very easily distracted, or she's just getting bored, and that boredom is, when someone's looking away, generally they're just not interested in what you're saying. So if it's not that extended, then it's probably not genuine interest. But here's the really, the crucial sign that I think demonstrates if a girl really likes you. It's if her eye contact is unnecessary when she does have it. So someone else is talking and she's looking at you. Even if she's actually talking to someone where not only she's watching them, but they are expecting her to look at them. So she's talking and then she flicks her eyes towards you. It's sometimes hard to control because you feel, attraction feels like a magnetism, it's a pull. So, if there's a gorgeous girl in the room, right? You're talking to your friend, you're gonna like sneak a look at her ass or her tits, or you just wanna look at her. Same thing is happening when a girl is interested in you, right? They're people too. So, surprise. You're talking to her, or she's talking to someone looking at you. When you are talking, she's really keeping that intense, unnecessary, like it's long, but then it's like so unnecessarily long. When no one's talking, she's just sitting around, like she'll find ways to look your way. It's also when, before she's actually interacting with you, if it's not a social circle environment, like she's just out and about, it's at a subway or a metro stop or wherever, she finds excuses to look your way. Like, you do the whole look over your shoulder and I'm just randomly looking at anything and then I catch a glance at you and then look back to whatever I was looking at. That's a sign of interest. So piercing, long extended eye contact, and she's looking at you even when it's unnecessary and it's random. Second way to tell, touch. Touch is a huge thing. Now, some girls are just very seductive and they know how to use this because it signals us so strongly. You've been talking to women and they just gently tap you on your elbow. Something about that just makes us go, turns us on. Like when I'm talking to a girl and she touches me, my brain immediately goes, okay, I think we're on here. I'm gonna do some more assessment, but I still feel that urge like other men. I still have the same body that you have, all right? I just have sharpened the mind a little bit, but my natural instincts of wanting to fuck anything that is interested in me and is also attractive enough to stick my dick into, even if it's a fucking potato, well, because sometimes potatoes be looking sexy, but I'm gonna feel that urge, okay? So she touches me lightly, I'm gonna go, okay, that's a good sign. If it's just once, that's just her being polite, her being seductive. Most girls have a little bit of this in them. The ones who have it a lot, well, they can be really confusing. That's part of their power, is being confusing and leading guys on. But if she's touching you a lot and extendedly, okay, boom, then she's interested, right? Now, I'm leaving out the obvious ones, like she gives you a compliment, and even that sometimes can be ambiguous. She actually asks you out or gives you her number, right? That stuff's super obvious. This is when it's ambiguous, okay? So the touch and the eye contact is very, very, very strong. Lastly, compliance. Now this is I think it's the eyes are really the strongest, but this is the ultimate tester. Now this is something that you can just test yourself, right? You can't just force her eyes to look at you or force her hands on you, right? You're just like, touch me, bitch. The compliance is something that you can test by trying something, right? Just ask her out, right? That's one way to really eliminate a lot of this bullshit is, okay, well, I'm just gonna ask her out. Now, this solution sometimes can cause some trouble because, you know, if you're asking every girl out in your social circle or you're asking girls at work, right, then things can get kind of hairy. So when you're in those situations, you wanna look at these two. But if it's a random cold approach situation, or, you know, you're just hanging out at this party and you don't know anyone, why not fucking go for it, right? So try and get some compliance. You can get her number, you can ask her out. You can just gently do some touch and see how she reacts to that, right? You start with the social touching, right? And then if she reacts well and starts to get closer to you and all of these signs start to amplify and get more interested, okay, compliance is not only asking girls to do things for you, right? It's you doing things to her and she's letting you, right? So active compliance is when you ask her like, oh, let me see your hand, or let me see that earring, or, you know, show me your dress, like do a little twirl. Hey, come with me, let's go outside and smoke a cigarette. That's active compliance, where you ask or suggest something and then she does it. Passive compliance is when she allows you to do things to her. So touching her, you know, you grab her hand and she just lets you, and you walk with her. So try these start small, of course. You don't want to just randomly, you know, do something too crazy. But if you start small and you start to see that she's reciprocating things like touch or things like long eye contact. So if you start to, because sometimes girls are shy, you give longer eye contact and then she starts reciprocating it, that's a huge sign of interest. Or you guys are sitting in the group and you look towards her randomly, even though someone else is talking, and then she reciprocates, and then you guys, you know, break eye contact, and then she looks at you, and then you look at her, and you start playing that eye contact game. There you go. There's another way that you initiated the game by, well, initiating it, okay? So you've got compliance. So touch, or eye contact, touch, and compliance. Those are the best ways, in my opinion. The first two are very subtle. The third is a little bit more active, to distinguish between sincere attraction and her just being polite. So hopefully this helps you get out of situations that are ambiguous. Ultimately, the best answer is, I get texts from guys all the time. Does this girl like me? I just say, ask her out, right? So that's the ultimate test. Just ask the girl out. If you have nothing to lose, then fuck it. And most of the time, you have nothing to lose. So go for it and ask her out. Okay, cool. Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.